Hello, this is the Bosendorefer Imperial grand piano. That's 290 centimetres long, made in 1978, and it's been fully restored since then. First of all, looking at the casework, we can see it's actually a dark walnut colour. It's not black, if you thought perhaps it was. As you get closer up, you can see that there's definitely not black. I'm not sure how you'll pick this up on the video. There we are. I think that shows clearly that it's actually dark walnut, apparently. And it's obviously been refinished like a modern piano. There's the logo for Bösendorfer in the middle there. And you must have noticed it has it on the side. A lot of concert grands do have that on the side. Of course, on the concert stage, it's Bosendorfer and Steinway, the two main makes of piano traditionally. Let's go around the whole case, and I did find I don't know if you can even see it under the finish. You can't feel it at all, but I don't know if you can see it there. There's a slight ripple. It's the only damage I could see on the whole piano. It's not damage really. It's just you could call it a defect, but it's totally under there. You can't feel any ridge at all. So it's obviously something to do with the wood underneath. And if we look around here, we can see there is no other damage at all. Sorry, no other defects. And let's go around the whole piano so you can see that. And the legs are also don't seem to have any defects at all. We'll obviously check them through very carefully indeed. We have done that already, but double check and treble check, because this is obviously a very special instrument, and very grateful to get it. That's actually just dust, I think. Yeah. So let's look around the whole of the side of the piano. Obviously we're interested in the instrument, but they're normally black, and it's nice to get one that isn't black, and for a domestic setting particularly, I think perhaps it's very appropriate. So you can see, can't you? You see the colour of the variety of the veneer underneath. That's just reflection there. That's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. And going right the way, so say the legs. There's a slight defect. No, that's yes. So we're getting a specialist finisher off of pianos to go over this before it actually gets delivered. So there's some very slight scratching here, I think, minimal, and it's had minimal use. You can always tell minimal use because people put the sheet music here and it scratches a lot normally, and on the music stand too. So not much use at all. That's the logo. That's not Bösendorfer. That's the folks that did the refinishing of the piano and the reconditioning. Very fastidious they are indeed. If you do buy the piano, I'll obviously let you know all the details. But taking a bit longer than normal to go over the case of the piano, just because, as I say, it is particularly special. So hopefully you can appreciate that. Ivory key tops in one piece ivory, I think. Yes, they are. That's if this is being exported, we will have to talk to you about that, because some countries don't accept ivory. That's really important. So if you are buying it from another part of the world, that is an issue we have to deal with these days. That's a shame, isn't it? Because ivory is very nice to have. But obviously the modern key tops are good too. Let's look inside the piano, and we can see, well, refinished perfectly. And I always love the underside of the lid on Bösendorfers. I'll show you the top in a minute. But let's finish off with this. I don't know what the wood is. If you're a wood expert, please let me know. But I always like to learn. So the prop stick too. Underside of Bösendorfers in this light colour, and the rim, of course, it's the same. So looking at the whole of the inside, we can see all perfect really. So I'm only showing you this to so you can see that everything's perfect. I haven't come across any defects, and if there are any, obviously we're going to try and make them good. So around the rim here, all perfect. The bass strings, the stringing's been done nice long string length, so coming up as close as possible to the agraffs at the top, and here the bridge. So looking at the fall, all integral, isn't it really? Exactly the same. And here we have the top of the piano, so just bits of dust on it. No real significant scratching. There is actually a defect here, so I said there was no defects, but there is one there, and I don't know what we can do about that. I'll have to get our polisher to look at that, but I suspect we might have to keep it like that. So there is a defect, and that's the only one we've found. so far. I don't think we can do anything about that except for refinishing the whole piano, which I don't think we'd do it for just that reason. But the top is not rippled at all, it's just beautiful. It does have a matching leather top piano stool, very well made and integral with the piano, obviously. If you wanted a concert piano stool as well, that might be an idea if you are thinking perhaps for duets. We've got plenty of those, and they'll be black though, unfortunately, not matching the piano. Just looking at the dollies here, this is called dollies, they used to be A-frames. This is much nicer, but I would recommend probably taking them off if you're going to have a concert, just because there's a gap underneath, just a couple of centimetres, but the pedals are then a bit on the high side. So I think if it's moved in and then two or three strong men lift the piano up and this can be pulled out, then the pedals are going to go back down again, and that might be preferable. This lost its prop stick, by the way, at the back, and we're going to replace that. So there are one or two things that we need to do. At the underside of the piano, it had a damp chaser fitted. Nowadays they're called piano lifesavers, and I personally don't go along with them very much, just because people forget them. They obviously work very well, but if you don't maintain them and are careful with them, then you will find that it's better to keep the room humidity constant. And if you're interested in that, please do write to us and we'll explain what we think is best for that. If you're in the trade, please do comment. I'm sure damp chasers work extremely well, but we don't fit them ourselves normally. We try and get the room humidity very accurate. Obviously in different parts of the world it might be a good idea to have those. In the UK, you can get the room in to the kind of humidity level that you want. Kind of heat. It's a combination of temperature and humidity. We have taken the bowl out here and certain bits that hang down, but of course we can supply those if you want it, or we can take this off. Now, the piano has been fitted with a Wessel nickel and gross, I hope that's the right pronunciation, action here, carbon fibre. Very useful if you live in places with changing humidity, as the hinges tend to get very tight if they get very humid. So apparently this action is foolproof in terms of, I don't know if that's the right word to use, but I haven't had a lot of experience with it. I know that the place that restored the piano, they do a lot of them, and obviously I think very highly of them. The top hammer was slightly loose, by the way, just to mention, if you're one of our technicians, to just check them all and make sure that they're all very tight, because that was moving slightly. Apart from that, it looks fine. I think you lubricate them in the same way as you do with talc or Teflon powder. It'd be useful to know that if you're used to working on these. We want to make sure we do it properly. But very impressed with the action, and the tuner who's been looking after this was one of the top tuners in the country, and he's very impressed with it and has been fine regulating it as well. By the way, the hammers are original hammers, and we can see the date on them, 1977. Actually, that must have been on the shelf for 78, so it must have been on the shelf just the year before. So that's the original hammers. So this action's been fitted, and the original hammers have been kept. I think they have been lightly refaced, but not a huge amount of wear on the hammers, and the tone is good. We need to voice them, fine voice. That's always something that needs to be done. Now, I have pitch raised, was about 437, not been tuned for a long time, and I pitch raised. The owner, by the way, went to the Far East, and that's why he sold the piano. But he said to me he travelled Europe trying to find the best Bösendorfer. So obviously I don't know if it's Joe's trying to sell it to me, but certainly I'm very impressed. And I think we've had 4, 5, 6 maybe Bosendorefer Imperials, some 97, some 92, I think the other length of key, but we were always trying to source those, and the tuning pins are very tight. That's fine. I pitch raised and tuned. I just want to make sure they are very, very tight. There is some regulation to do. Some of the dampers aren't lifting enough with the key when you're trying to tune them around here. You can tell that, so that's all mentioned on the worksheet. I won't go on too much about that, because otherwise the video will be too long, and I spent a long time on the cosmetics on this one. Looking at the assessment sheet, I think I've mentioned everything here. Fully restored, I think about 2005. I'm not so certain about that. I'll try and find out more detail. And the key weighting, I didn't show you, but the centre rail definitely needs lubricating, and that will bring it down to where we want it to be. So 60 grams, a bit on the heavy side. So that's something we're going to do straight away, I think, because there's a concert next week. So thank you very much for listening. So that's a Bosendorefer Imperial 97 key piano. We're so grateful whenever we get one of these in stock. And as you can hear, the bottom string, they sound more like a bell than a string. Or rather than a note, more like a bell. I think it's about 27 vibrations a second. And that one there. So to tune those, you do need to touch the string in the middle, so it brings this note to the pitch of this one here, and that enables you to tune it. At least I need to do that anyway. I don't know if you can tune them and are used to doing them in another way. So you get the harmonic, in other words, of that string by cutting it in half, rather like you do guitar strings. So they're superb concert pianos, Bosendorefer Imperials. Plays beautifully and delicately. We're going to obviously do some fine regulation on it and fine voicing. Those ones near the normal range are very, you can hear, and they're very useful. I did mention on another video that although you may not play these notes very much, they do vibrate when you lift the dampers. Then they're going to give a deeper sound for the whole piano. So that's a more powerful and a deeper sound than you normally get, because you've got these strings vibrating at the same time. So I hope that's helpful, and I shall probably try and play this piano before it's sold. Hopefully it doesn't sell too soon, but if you're interested in it, please let us know. It's quite unique really, being not black, because they're nearly always black, but I think for domestic setting it's ideal if it's not black. Such a warm sound, but such long strings, so obviously you do get a very special sound. If you've got a room that's a reasonable size and you're thinking, can I fit this in, you can always dampen the acoustics of the room down, and of course you get the benefit of the very warm, lush bass and these extra notes. Thank you very much for listening.